You know, you look at the 100-plus years of Penn State wrestling, there aren't many teams that Penn State hasn't faced. Wyoming's one of them. Just how did that come about this year? How did it get on the schedule?
Well, first, I didn't realize that we haven't faced them, so that's pretty cool. And frankly, we were trying to find a date, and I just couldn't find any other opponents. And an acquaintance said, "Hey, what about Wyoming? I know him." He reached out, and they got back to us right away and said, "Yeah, let's work it out." And we're really excited to get a team in here from out west, and we're working on getting back out there next year. So we're going to get a little road trip in. So it's, these sorts of things. We don't do them a lot, but it's fun when we get an opportunity.
Kind of like Braeden, probably, clearly hasn't lost much in his career. Even though it was number one this week, the number one guy, do you have to watch certain guys, how they do handle losses? How do you handle each guy individually?
Yeah, everybody will handle a loss a little bit differently, but these guys, they've been competing at a high level for a long time, and part of that are taking some bumps and bruises along the way. His attitude was good afterwards. He was upset. He's as competitive as can be, but he knows he needs to work on some positions, and he feels like he wants to get another opportunity to get that guy. So that's the sort of thing we want to hear from guys. So no concerns there from us.
The media may call it an upset with Josh Barr. Was that something that you expected him to go out there and be as dominant as he was, or was that a surprise to you as well?
Well, we had Beard here on our team for a while, and he's a great kid and he's a great competitor. But we felt like with the right game plan, that Josh would be able to find a way to get on top, and he did exactly what the coaches talked with him about doing, and he found a way to win. And we're just happy for him. And then that's always hard when you're competing maybe against a former athlete, but it's part of the process, and I think he did a great job.
What more can we expect from Josh in the future? How can he get better? He's already capitalizing on a strong start, but where can he still get better?
I think if you saw in that match, you saw him really get to his offense. He didn't get stuck underneath. He didn't have his head down. Those are the things that we're looking for him to get to that leg and get to the finishes. Early in his career, he got stuck underneath guys a couple times, but you can see the improvement. We first really saw it this past spring when he made that U20 team, and since then, he's just got better and better.
How rewarding is it as a coach to see you guys are telling these guys to, see a game plan, follow that game plan, and it executes, and it comes to the result you guys expected it would be?
Actually, it is really satisfying in an individual situation when you see an athlete follow the game plan, because it's, wrestling's a little bit tricky to game plan. You have this idea of what the match should be like, and then they make contact and things just change right away. But to see somebody get in a tough match in a tough environment with that kind of crowd to stick with the game plan, it's good because you really see his maturity there. Because those sorts of situations, you can see guys, they'll start to not regress, but they'll start going to the things they're more comfortable with. But he really stayed out of his comfort zone and did what he needed to do.
What stood out about Luke's match? Won a close one. What's he shown you thus far?
Yeah, I was happy with Luke. I think that he wanted to put more points on the board, but that was his first college dual meet in a big stage against a tough competitor, a guy that wrestles hard. And to be down close in that third period and to defend with a baseline defense and turn around and come out on top, there's just a lot of maturity that you see there from him. And that sort of thing is really hard to coach, right? He just knows where he is in the match. He didn't panic at all. He just stayed focused, stayed with his snaps, stayed with his attacks. And now going forward, and we know he's going to respond well in a big match. Now we just need to help him get a little bit more offense in some of those positions against maybe a little bit stronger, bigger guy.
It doesn't look like Volk wrestled the last time Wyoming wrestled. Do you know if he was going to, and what would you expect for that match?
Yeah, we're not. We've had some communication with their program, and we're not yet certain if a couple of those guys are going to be wrestling. Hopefully he's able to wrestle. Hopefully he's healthy, because he didn't wrestle in that last tournament for them. But if it's, that's probably the most exciting match for me coming up. But if we don't get it, it's still a great opportunity to see Luke get out there and continue to develop.
With the change this weekend, you now have 3 duels in the Bryce Jordan Center. Does that maybe excite the fans, excite the team, or is it anytime, any place mentality?
Well, there is the anytime, any place mentality, but I know our guys are excited about it. The Bryce Jordan Center adds a little bit of flair, and hopefully the fans are excited about it as well. And we are happy to move over there. The NCAA volleyball meet coming in, and our volleyball team is just, they've looked great this year. And it's been really fun to watch them progress. So for us to move over there to accommodate that event for them, we're happy to do that. And hopefully the fans will show up and have a good time as well.
I know this is someone looking a week ahead, but the journeyman duels, I mean, that's 3 dual meets against very tough teams all in one day. What can you learn about your team? What are realistic expectations for a Penn State wrestling team to be able to go through that grueling event all in one day?
Yeah, so I kind of look at it as 3 things. First, it's a lot of tough individuals. So individually, we're going to get some great matches out there. Second, it just starts getting our match count up because we start getting into those RPI situations. And this is opportunity to wrestle some different opponents to make sure our RPI is where it needs to be postseason. And third, we've really seen this event help our team come together and be we'll just respond as a group going into the second half of the season. Because it's a little different on the front side. You have your breaks, you have your Thanksgivings, we have an all-star meet, which is part of the team. Have a duel, and you have a couple-week break. But this is a great opportunity for us to get on the road for a couple days and just really gel as a team. And it's served that role in the past, so that's what we expect again.
You mentioned Luke and his maturity in the moment. What have you seen from the other young guys, and what have you seen from their development so far?
Do you have anyone specifically?
Your solo, I was thinking.
Yeah, a lot the same. Just we saw him out in the Army tournament, and he really did a good job scoring points. And he's competed on the world level, so these guys have wrestled in tough matches. But sometimes it takes athletes a little bit of time to transition from that top level high school or even those junior level world matches into those tough college bouts. And Mirasola, what we were looking for the hand fighting, we were looking for the reshots, we were looking for scoring those points. And he went out there with the same attitude that he has wrestled with, through the earlier years. And so that's a really positive sign for us.
Was there that turning point moment for Josh Barr that maybe you can see for the Mirasola twins and even a Zach Ryder as well? I'm not saying maybe a strict timeline, but what is that evidence that, okay, they're going to have that breakthrough?
That's actually an interesting question. Sometimes we see it right away with guys, and sometimes it takes a few more matches. My college coach used to talk about guys having 20 bouts, under their belt at the not the redshirt level, but the actually competition level. And I think that holds for a lot of guys. But now, just as good as these kids are in the development, we're seeing that happen a little bit quicker. So really, what we're looking for is individual improvements. Each guy's a little bit different, and a lot of it is following a game plan, finishing in a tough situation that they didn't finish before, or really wrestling through a position that they didn't know they weren't wrestling through before. Because we see that with kids coming in, they think they're wrestling through positions, but they're not really wrestling. They were just more superior athletically and technically than the guys they've competed against in the past. Now they go up against somebody that's more equal. Are they going to wrestle through those positions? And it's a big marker that we see. It's pretty subtle, and I don't know how many people would notice it on the outside, but it's one thing we really look for. Are they transitioning and going through those positions that maybe got stuck in before?
When you compare your final 5 guys on Sunday to your first 5, aside from Shane, would you, is it fair to say you maybe would want them to be a little bit more aggressive from a neutral position?
Yeah, I think, but the matchups were a little bit different. They're a little bit strange. When we've gone into Lehigh, we've always had some tough bouts, especially those lighter weights, right? They're a tough team to wrestle. They're pretty darn good in scrambles. There was a couple positions they were able to stalemate where we need to work on scoring some points. So there's definitely some technical work, but yeah, we're always looking to score more points, right? The base answer to the question is yes. We need to score more points. And as we transition through into our Big Ten duels, that's exactly what we look for the guys to do. And traditionally, we've been able to do that in the past. So we don't really have any concerns about it, but yeah, we need to put more points on the board.
Kale said last week that Tyler and Josh kind of took another step forward to being named as starters, so to speak, quote unquote. With their success this past Sunday, has that widened the gap even more for you guys as a coaching staff for that decision?
We're actually pretty slow to make those evaluations. We like what we're seeing from both guys, but we have some really great guys in the room. And one thing we just like to make sure we do is give guys their opportunity to get to the spot. So we don't try to get too far ahead of ourselves with that. But what we're seeing from both those guys and the guys that are challenging, we've been. So I think we're getting a little bit closer, but we still need a little bit more time probably with all these guys. All good? All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chip.